So what distinguishes definitively between a reliable and unreliable source? So definitively, right? Nothing. Nothing really definitively. But you can weed out most substandard sources pretty fast. For the non-expert, the best sources have at least three qualities, right? The best sources are in a position to know. They have a history of being careful with the truth. And they are dedicated not to a single agenda or theory, but to accurately summarizing the state of expert and professional opinion. So the first question to ask, and it's really important this is the first question, is whether the source is in a position to know. For most things in life, there's really only a small number of people that are truly in a position to know. A question like, is this medication safe, is one that requires an awful lot of knowledge that almost none of us has. Even in cases where the question is, did this thing happen? There's sometimes only a small set of witnesses that really know, right? So if you just start with this idea that your source should be significantly more qualified to answer a question by virtue of expertise, experience, or just being a witness than most other people, you get down to a pretty small number of people really quickly. You get down from like 7 billion people in the world to a few thousand, or maybe even just a few that can talk about the issue. So you ask that first, position to know. Here's the second bit. Experts disagree, expertise is hard to judge, witnesses sometimes lie. So more often than not, with complex issues, you don't just want one expert opinion, right? You want something that captures the range of expert opinion, something that synthesizes accounts of the most reliable witnesses. And this is where agenda comes into play. Unless you're an expert in your field, your best possible source, at least to start with, is going to be one that makes an effort to reach out to many people in the know and synthesize what they say in a disinterested way. This is one reason why newspaper reporting can be very valuable. Even though we can read scientists directly on the web, etc., a good reporter tries to understand the places where there is expert consensus and where there's expert dissensus. And they try to reflect that, right? They are in a position to know based on the expertise they have access to and their skills at sorting through it. So you see this also, this very similar pattern you see with professional organizations. If I'm going on the web to find information on COVID-19, I'm more likely to trust the American Medical Association or the CDC than any single doctor. Why? Because again, these organizations aren't about advancing a single theory. They're about sorting through a lot of divergent opinions and trying to find the signal in the noise, right? So there's a place, of course, for reading niche experts. There's a place for reading activist journalism. But I wouldn't start there, especially on things that you have little knowledge of. I'd start with sources that see as their main function synthesizing the state of knowledge on an issue and accomplish that by talking to a range of experts and ideally have a history of doing that well.